All right, so I was just listening to A Course in Miracles, and I'm listening to the audiobook, and the narrator just said that no matter how much you try to address your fear from the secular three-dimensional world, you're never going to get over it until you heal the separation. Everything is going to be just a band-aid until you heal separation. And I've been experiencing this truth really intensely this year. I've tried to go about doing things in my old way. My relationship with food, my relationship with people, my relationship with health, my relationship with writing. It's always been that I've just plowed through, I've developed discipline, and I've figured out how to get things done. But it's just not working for me right now. Discipline is eluding me. Structure in that way is eluding me. And A Course in Miracles, the guy just said, and I could probably pull it up and read it, but I don't know, I've forgotten where he was. But he just basically said that the only cure and the one thing that will put everything right within your mind into balance is to heal the separation. So that really resonated with me. Things in the past are showing me that the old way isn't working. I can't go about things using my mind. This is what he just said. He's like, you can't use your mind to create a new you, because your mind doesn't create, your mind makes, which means that your mind tells stories over and over again, which is what I'm doing. Even though I don't necessarily hear the story, I live the story. So I go to my tarot cards and I say, okay, I'm hearing this, and this is, again, I'm very aware that this is not the first time I've heard this. Source has been saying this to me over and over and over, and it has been showing me this over and over and over for the last 5 years for sure. But since I started studying A Course in Miracles in 2013 and in 2014 really using it, it's been showing me that all I need is connection to Source. Now, in theory, I got it, okay? But in practice, it's been these years of trying to integrate this and trying to make this thing like a reality within me. So I'm aware of that. And then I said, as I'm hearing this message this morning, I say, God, I get it. So I'm ready to step into the union. And how do I do that? So I take another tarot card, and the card I get is the Nine of Swords. Now, we know that the Nine of Swords represents this energy of suffering and pain. And I know that the response from God is not that you have to suffer and have pain. I know that because I've already gone through that. And this is what I read when I was reading the description. So I know I'm reading this with a very open mind, and I'm very aware that this is not the thing that my ego wants to make of it, that there's some other meaning that I have to get from this. So this is what I read. It says, finding this card in a reading signifies mental anguish and suffering. It refers to those darkest periods of our lives when we experience the deepest sorrows. So I'm thinking, yeah, that's been my whole life. All my life, I've had a baggage, a suitcase full of suffering that I've been carrying around, and it's all about my perspective. It has nothing to do with reality. Don't get me wrong, there have been some shitty things, but even that's the ego's story. That willingness to keep returning to, don't get me wrong, things are blah, 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 that is the story that the ego makes, and God is saying, honey, you got to let that go. I'm sorry, but you got to let that go. You don't get to keep saying, you don't get to keep going back to the ego. Yesterday in session, one of our, I was making space for ego. And one of my fellow students in my Course in Miracles study group, she says, yeah, but Crystalline, there's no separation. There's no, I hear what you're saying and I appreciate that you're making space for the ego, but we just read that it's only one or the other. It's black or white. And I'm not mentioning her name, but I think she knows who she is, okay? But what she said was really true. And I'm like, fuck, I'm making space for my ego, but I need to make space for my ego. Of course, that's ego saying that because it's ego telling its story over and over again. So this morning I'm listening and I'm remembering, this was just last night that we had this conversation, and the message that A Course in Miracles is insisting on is that there is no room for ego, period. There's no evolved ego. There's no room, period. If you want to be fearless, you got to be ego-less. So I'm like, God, how do I do that? And again, this message of the Nine of Swords is coming through. And as I'm reading this about the anguish and the suffering, I'm realizing that is what I have chosen every time that I look at myself through the eyes of this egocentric being. So the message goes on and it says, these times almost always involve relationships and our feelings of love. And I thought, okay, suffering through the ego, in the three-dimensional world, there's kind of like this price you pay for love. And love is beautiful, but when your lover ends or a relationship ends, there's sadness. And A Course in Miracles is saying that's not really love. That's conditional love, meaning you feel love. And then another one of our group members last night, not mentioning names because of privacy, and I'm trying to give you all privacy, but she's like, love is when the Holy Spirit is in me and I'm receiving love when I'm praying and I'm saying, use me, Holy Spirit's filling me, and I'm in the state of love when I'm saying, I'm of service to love, to God. And I'm pondering that, and I realize that the only real relationship that I have is the relationship with God, with myself, with God within. That's the only relationship. When that relationship is broken or severed or ruptured or disrupted or broken, then I am in a state of bereavement. And since I've come into this world, I have been in a state of separation, absorbing pain, living life, the life of denial of union of God and myself. That's where I've been for all my life. So this Nine of Swords card is really appropriate because the question I asked is, God, how do I heal the separation? And the answer is here. The torment we go through when a love affair or marriage ends, or when we suffer bereavement or are separated in some way from our partner. My separation from God, that is the cause of my suffering. All right, so we've gotten that straight. The thing is, this card is showing me that it's mirroring me. It's saying the separation, the pain I feel, the compulsive eating, the inability. I'm having fear every time I get ready to go on a run. I can't go out on a run. I'm having fear. Every time I go to write, I'm having fear. It's showing me that it's time to really come back into that state of union. And I have to acknowledge this, that I have been all my life in the dark night of the soul. I've had glimpses of being in alignment, but for the most part, I've been in the dark night of the soul. Now, interestingly, this morning when I woke up and I did my morning meditation, I said, okay, I want to bring in the future aspect of myself that has already gone through this. So I want to bring an aspect of my higher self in. So while I'm sitting there waiting for this higher self to arrive, the person that keeps coming in is this actress named Octavia Spencer. I love her as an actress. She's beautiful, she's smart, she's good at what she does, but she's fat. And I'm going, why is she coming in? Because, part of my issue is that I don't want to be fat. I've been overeating and I'm getting heavier and heavier. I can no longer fit into my fat jeans. The elastic waistband around my stretchy jeans is pulling to the point now where I'm in pain. So clearly there's imbalance. So why is my higher self bringing in a spiritual guide that has the same issues with weight that I do? The woman has had gastric bypass surgery. She has, she's been an endorsement for this diet fad, which has zero issues where you can be out of balance is what it's saying. Sprinkle this on your food and be out of balance with the food, but eat as much as you want and we're going to miraculously fix this for you. So I was really in resistance to having my future self come in the form of Octavia Spencer, because I'm like, this is not the image that I have of myself. And so I'm in resistance, but I have to accept it anyway, right? Because I know I trust my higher self. I trust the images that come into my mind. Ego goes, I don't like this. I'm in resistance. This doesn't work for me. And I have to take my higher self perspective and say, look, we're accepting this anyway. I've got to let this in. So I let her in. And what I ended up finding, number one, I got to do all the shadow work on my judgments against fat on myself and fat within people, came to a really powerful core belief that I have that needs to change, which says that I have to be perfect. Fine, did all that shadow work, really good. But the thing that I also learned is that the reason Octavia Spencer comes to me is not about her weight. It's because of the beauty that she is when she is in performing mode. And what I thought was at first was that, well, when she's in performing mode, she's wearing a mask. She's charming and she's articulate, but she's blah, blah, blah. It's a mask. But actually, it wasn't that it was a mask. It's that she was actually enters into the zone. So when she was coming to me in this meditation that I was doing about the future self, she was showing me herself in her perfected state, which is when Octavia Spencer is acting, when she's on stage, when she is acting, she's not acting with a mask. She is surrendered. She's let go. She's in the moment. She is fully connected to herself. She is fully aware of who she is in character. She is surrendered to that character. She's not in her head thinking, are they liking this? Am I doing this right? She's surrendered to who she is as that character. That's what makes her a brilliant actor. It's what makes her a brilliant performer. It's what makes her a charming and beautiful interviewer. So I realized that it's the surrender. It's not the outcome of her performance that we appreciate. It's being with her in the moment, in a state of perfect union. When you're watching her and she's delivering this and you're feeling it, you're on the edge of your seat, you're gripped with her. She is who she is. She is I am in that moment. That's what she's coming to show me as this future self. The me that has chosen to surrender and to just allow myself to be fully surrendered to the moment, the I am. So that was really significant this morning. So as I'm reading now, and I'm in the kitchen and I'm making my breakfast and I'm listening to A Course in Miracles, and he's saying, look, you got to just surrender and be in the moment, union with God. That is the only reality. You have to be in that reality. And I get this card that says, how do I be in that reality? And it says, the card goes on to say, despite these feelings of being in the world in this negative way that I have, there is light at the end of the tunnel. 9s signify intensity, but also completion. Just as the rigors of winter give way to the light and warmth of spring, voila, here we are. So the period you are going through will come to its natural completion, and you will enter a brighter phase of your life. Wow, that's saying surrender and let go. That's saying that spring is here, and just to allow this egoic self to come to an end on its own. That's very different than what I expected to hear. Although it's almost saying like it's the end of the season. It's the season is complete. And I have to say that 2 days ago, I was in meditation and I felt this feeling of being ready to let something die, being ready to let myself die, the old way die. And I got many cards of transformation, and one of the cards that I got was from the Goddess Oracle, and it was Kali Ma. And Kali is about transformation, letting the old ways die so that the new can come forth. And remember, I don't know if you remember, but I got this, when I got to Zagreb, I got this beautiful head of lettuce. And in this beautiful head of lettuce was a bunch of shit. And I'm like, why is there so much shit in my lettuce? And I go in, there's a caterpillar about this big. And this caterpillar is living in this lettuce, but he's been cold in the refrigerator. So I take the caterpillar out and I'm feeding it and giving it lettuce on a daily basis, giving it water. And I'm like, this caterpillar is coming to me for a reason. And I'm nurturing this caterpillar in the way that I know how. However, I'm watching, and the caterpillar, I'm giving it lettuce and it's out in the sunshine with a plant. But the shit is really small. Like when the caterpillar was living on the whole head of the lettuce, the shit was enormous. And I'm like, God, that's a lot of shit. But while it's living with this little plant and it's getting just these couple of leaves of lettuce that I'm giving it every day, you know, it's like the lettuce is not in the ground, it's just pieces of lettuce. Well, I'm aware that the caterpillar's shit is shriveling up, which to me is saying maybe there's not enough life force coming into this caterpillar. And I realize, I'm like, you know, I live in the city, but I chose to live in the city in a place where there's a lot of nature. And sure enough, I go out on a quest to let my little caterpillar get back into nature. Here I am trying to nurture it in my home, but really what I need to do is let this caterpillar go back to nature. So I go for a little walk and I find this beautiful path right outside my door. Literally, I go out of my door, go up the stairs, and I walk for maybe 2 minutes, and there's a path that leads down to this gorgeous trail with it goes into a valley, and there are these beautiful trees and just grass, and it's beautiful. So I find a spot. I've got the caterpillar nestled in a couple of leaves of lettuce. There's water there, and I'm like, all right, caterpillar, I'm going to put you in the woods where you belong, and I'm going to let God take care of you. So I left him there with his little care package of lettuce and water. And I'm like, you are on your own, go thrive. And I don't know what's happened to that caterpillar, but I do know that I set that thing free to just be served by God in whatever form it's going to be. That for me, and what the caterpillar is going to do, caterpillars eat and eat and eat. They grow fatter and fatter and fatter, and they bust out of their skin. That's what a caterpillar is supposed to do. And for me, I see myself like a caterpillar. Here I am. I'm just realizing this now. Here I am eating, I'm eating, I'm eating. I'm bursting out of my clothes. I'm bursting out of my pants. I can't fit into my jeans. I can't fit into my stretchy fat girl pants anymore, you know, those ones I keep just in case I grow big again. And I can no longer fit those. So I'm very aware that I am that caterpillar. And I guess the natural stage is to just keep listening, keep surrendering. If I eat more, I eat more. But either way, I'm going to go into some kind of a cocoon. I'm going to start naturally moving toward the spinning of the cocoon. And I'm going to go inside. Let the transformation happen on its own. And then I'm going to start to develop my wings, let them expand, you know, start pushing out of the cocoon. And then I'm eventually going to be out of the cocoon, breathe a little bit, start stretching my wings fully, and then I'm going to fly. Okay, but how am I going to do that, God? How is that going to happen? That's what ego says, yeah? And what I know about this spiritual process, I'm in shadow, I'm in light, I'm in light, I'm in shadow. What I know about this spiritual process is that it's a process, and really the best way is to just surrender. So I'm just going to surrender. I'm going to be pushing every day. I know what it is I desire. I've got my heart and dream mapping book. I'm just going to move every day toward my desires. And when there's fear, I'm going to remember who I am. I'm going to pray and say, God, I'm feeling fear. I need your help right now. And then I'm going to keep on moving. I think it's actually happening. I do feel the shift. Thank God. All right. So, all right. I'm going to just sign off right here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I will be keeping you posted. Good morning from Zagreb. It's really bright. The sun comes right in. I've never had sunrise in my space like this before. It is very, very clear. The sun represents authority. It's the authority of the universe, of the galaxy, of the solar system. It's the solar system. The sun is the center. It's the authority. And it's every morning reminding me of my inner authority right here. I love that. All right, signing off. Bye for now.